So what do you call yourself? Welcome to the LaTangela Show.
Hey, what can I do for you this fine day?
This is your destiny. Hot, hot, hot. Right now.
Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Come on in and enjoy yourself.
Right now.
We gon' party like no one else. Welcome to the LaTangela Show. You ready?
I'm ready to roll when you are.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the LaTangela Show podcast. You know, this is starting to feel like a family reunion because every time I see Mr. Curtis, I know there's some real work in the works. And I'm like, you know what? He's been doing all this HBCU and making sure that we're on the go and making sure that we're getting all the highlights. I got questions that need answers. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, LaTangela. How you been doing?
I've been
And it's
good.
good to see you, by the way. It's good to see you.
Same here. And I'm excited to see you on the yard sometime this season.
You will. You will. I'm gonna make a live step so you see me. No question.
Absolutely. You have been a mastermind running so many different plays for so long. How did you know that this HBCU GO would be a platform that you really wanted to take on and say, I need to highlight these institutions and show them across the world?
Well, I think it really was a dream that I had thought about years back, and coming out of an HBCU, a small HBCU out of Ohio, Central State University, and eating and breathing all of that, just felt like it was time that we need to create something that gives these 107 historical Black colleges some exposure and some opportunities that they haven't had before. So I was hoping by creating HBCU GO, we begin to start opening that door and be able to really push the word HBCUs out into the street in a bigger level so that people start to understand more of the history, the legacy, and the big word I'm pushing now is culture, understanding the HBCU culture. Because until you live it or breathe it, you don't really understand it. You can just say, hey, I stopped by Southern, I stopped by this place, that place, wherever. But until you really eat and sleep it, you can't feel it the way other people do.
It's true. And when you say the culture for a lot of these HBCUs, they're right there as a part of the village, whether you've been on the campus for a tailgate, whether you've been there for a family resource fair, if you've been there for the classes, for those around the world that may not be familiar with HBCUs and how impactful they are, it's an educational tool for so many others. When you're spreading the message, what is it about the HBCUs that you want to give to others who may not be familiar with them, and what even the purpose may have been?
Well, I think the message is that you have to understand the history, the legacy, and the culture of HBCUs. And when you can start, the young people today do not understand their history. When I go out to campuses and speak today, I'm very much surprised at how many of the young people. I was at Morgan maybe 2 years back speaking, and I mentioned to the students in the classroom, well, do you know who Earl Grave is? And everybody looked around, tried to figure it. I said, no one in this room knows who Earl Graves is? I said, he is the former, he's passed away now, publisher of Black Enterprise and one of your biggest alumni. How do you not know that?
Right.
And they were like, well, no one's really told us that, Mr. Symonds. We didn't know that Mr. Graves was an alumni of Morgan State. And that's the kind of history lesson that is missing. Okay, is missing. And I think that's one of the things that we want to start doing more with, the storytelling side of HBCU GO, the more with where we can put you in a position where you can learn the history. We're working on our website now to upgrade our website, that we have an educational page that can really begin to start when people can't find the university, they can go to our educational page, and we're creating a map. Our map has been created. I'm getting it from a young lady who's been working on it for a while for me, where you can plug in a button and hit Howard University, and it gives you a whole plethora of what Howard is all about. And you can, what she's designed it to where you can go to all the 107 and be set up to get that kind of knowledge about the business. And that's where people need to start beginning to learn, because as I was telling another young man today in an interview, is that until you step on that campus, you can't understand it. You know, it's when people are just talking about it, you're like, yeah, I hear about HBCUs, but I'm gonna go here to Maryland or Penn State or whatever. And why? Why? Why would you go to a PWI when you have the opportunity to go to an HBCU? A PWI is going to treat you with a number. An HBCU is going to treat you with who you are. And it's going to mold you into a person that by the time you leave in that 4 years, you're going to say, God damn, I'm glad I got, excuse my language, I'm glad I came by, because this is what it's all about. Now I know who I am, and I think that's the one thing that I encourage young people to look in the mirror and understand, who are you? Because HBCU will tell you after 4 years who you are.
I love that. And when you mentioned knowing the history and even knowing who you are and asking those questions, who it is that you would like to become, representation truly matters. And
Oh,
you are a living legend. You are showing us how you've paved the way, not just for yourself, but for others. And even in this moment, as you're expanding these platforms, you're creating opportunities. You're educating us on the things that we may see and pass by every day and don't even think to ask the questions. And you would think that in this day and time, that people would know more because it's right at the tips of our fingers. But we're
right,
Googling, we're asking chat about all of the other things
right.
instead of putting what needs to be in the forefront or in that chat search box there.
I totally agree with you. I think the thing I would love to see down the road, I mean, one of the beauties I love with working with Byron Allen is the fact, one thing I asked him when I sold my company to him, I said, look, here's what I want to try to accomplish before they put me in the ground, is that two Black men can come together and build something together. Because in our society, we just can't understand how to work together. We have this silo thinking, like, I can't get better than LaTangela because of X, Y, Z. She's got a Mercedes, I don't have a Mercedes. She's got a house, I don't have a house, so I can't. She's on a whole nother level. That's not the way it is. Don't get caught up, which we have a lot of in our culture, perception. We get caught up in, well, that person's got this, I can't get this. That's not the way to look at life.
Yeah.
Life is a grind. Until you understand whatever you're doing, if you want to get established, you got to grind to get established if you want it. Now, if you think somebody's going to sugarcoat it and give you a handshake and say, this is how it's going to be on us, that's your mentality. But when you get out there and show people you're grinding, you'll be surprised how you'll be rewarded down the road. And that's really where I come from. I come from showing people that I grinded in my 40 plus years here in the media business.
Right.
So that's why I'm in 4 Hall of Fames, because people saw the work I put in. They saw when I came in, I took care of business. I didn't come in shuckling, jiving, and just trying to be out here. I'm on a purpose. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. And by the end of the day, I'm going to have you believing on what I can bring to the table, because you're going to trust me. And trust is the magic of a relationship. Once you trust me, I got you. Okay.
And it feels good to even hear you say that and to reassure that messaging, because we have so many people that take things for granted. The accountability isn't there. They don't take initiative. Woe is me. The world is against me. So many different changes. But how often do you apply yourself? How often do you challenge yourself? How often do you want to do this to help yourself and help somebody else along the way? It's like time out for that foolishness. 4 Hall of Fames, and you still wake up and decide to do this? Come on now. Like, just reading through your resume, half of it is just like, I'm doing this for the fun of it. But you're not. You're doing it for the enhancement of the lives of others.
But I mean, like I told somebody the other day, and I was down in Minnesota at a golf outing for a benefit thing this week. And I said, the one thing that sticks in my mind, LaTangela, is what my mom, she was on the dying bed, and she grabbed my hand and said, what's going to be your legacy at the end of the day? And she made me think. And I came back to it and I said, you know what? I'm going to follow your footsteps. You were always somebody who gave back and asked no questions. And so if I can give back and make people happy and show people the light and bring people into a new area where they haven't been before, and make them trust me in a way that I know what he's talking about. So he's my guiding light to bring me to where I need to go. That I've done my job. I was telling my assistant today, when I'm in a room, Tanya, if I get one person Could be on one person might be in the room. If I get 5, so be it. Whatever the number might be. But if I get 1 out of 5, or if I get 1 on 1, if I put enough in their mind for them to think about what I said, I've done my job. I've done my job. Because at least they took in what I was providing, and hopefully in their own way applied in the ways they feel appropriate to do what they need to do. That's really
You
got
put it top of mind too, apples and trees. For your mom to be on her dying bed and still concerned with what it is that you're going to do to leave your legacy, and for her life to be a reflection of what you wanted it to be. That speaks. That speaks. And hopefully parents today, they don't get caught up in the hashtags and the retweets just like the kids do, and they lose perspective of that.
Well,
Because
that's our battle. That's our battle because
yeah.
you got to look at how these kids are being driven. What you're made of comes out of your household. I tell people every day, nobody wakes up in the morning in prejudice. They've been taught a certain way. If I'm a white American, I'm taught, oh, blacks only do this and this. I'm in a black household. Oh, white people do this, Mexicans do that. So you're embedded in a mindset of how it might be until you get to meet the person and really understand the person. Then you understand, whoa, wait a minute. I thought you were like this. I didn't know you were like that.
Right.
And that's the thing that's missing in life, is that we have a strong personality, especially in the African-American community. We have a strong way of diagnosing people before we understand the person, he or she.
Right.
But what we see and what we perceive is what we're building on. I thought you were like this. I thought LaTangela was like this. Well, you haven't talked to LaTangela. How do you know? Well, I see her on a podcast and she's all da 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 da. Well, but have you ever spoke to her? Well, no, I'm just seeing what I see.
Right.
So how can you make a judgment without having the power of acknowledging that you spoke to the individual, understood the individual, and know how they think? And that's a missing piece. That's a very, very missing piece the time you think about it. It's a missing piece of life.
And you've been in this industry long enough to see how much it has changed, not just from the way that is produced, the way that is dispersed, but the way that is ran and the people who are consuming it and what it is that they want to consume. So for the challenge of giving highlights of things that may make headlines in other areas in other ways, you're creating HBCU GO to highlight those who may not be getting the recognition and show them that there are people that's creating this narrative. And it's your story to write. It's your story to tell. How do you want to be seen? How do you want to display this to the world? Represent us. And for you to see it from the sales aspect, the programming aspect, you've done it all. What has been one of the biggest challenges for you to bring it all together and make it one big cohesive piece?
I think the biggest challenge that we consistently find in our culture that we have to sell the person across the table is the word value. They throw that line up consistently in our community. And you're talking to somebody across the table, big wigs, first words out of their mouth, well, I'd like to see more value out of HBCU GO. Well, what do you mean more value? What more do I have to do? I have got a content, I have programming that is showing people what we do in the HBCU culture. We've been involved with this value word ever since we were born. From slavery to poverty to whatever. So there's no more need for me to show you value. The thing that you need to get from me is, how are you going to position me in order to grow? That's what should be the line I should hear. Well, here's what we like to do with you over here, Curtis. We like to HBCU GO and move it into this category and grow it this way. We're going to plant the seed. We're going to see how the tree grows, and then we're going to build some branches off of it. That's the kind of messaging I would like to see. Yeah. I would like to see that kind of partnership. But that's a grind. That's still a grind to get people to understand who we are as HBCU GO. I mean,
And
one of
being that you've been in this industry handling these types of situations for so long, you know how to navigate it. You know what to say. They're not speaking
yeah,
above your head. And you know to
right.
hold them accountable too, because you do know your value.
Well, that's the whole thing. You said it right there. I mean, I've been in the circle long enough when people talk to me about it. I said, and I go back to just my thinking about BT and how I used to when I was selling BT to cable operators, and I would say to them, take the B out of BET and just say entertainment television.
Yeah.
Okay. Because don't put me in a box. Because at the end of the day, the people who are watching BET aren't putting me in a box. The people who I'm selling BET to are, because you're assuming that the audience is only Black entertainment television.
Right.
Unlike understanding there's a lot of crossover. Because back in that day, there was a lot of non-African Americans who loved Donnie Simpson. A lot of
Absolutely.
African Americans, non-African Americans who loved Bobby Jones. So we flipped the script with HBCU GO and brought in the legend of all, who's unfortunately just passed away, Charlie Neal.
Yeah.
And Charlie Neal was the legend of Black college sports.
Yeah.
He was the guy who he could be on any telecast. He's done it all. He's been on CBS. He's traveled quite a bit and been on different networks. He's been on ESPN. But
Mhm.
that voice never changed. You knew when you heard that voice, he was covering Black college sports.
Right.
And he made it a purpose. And he made people who were uncomfortable about what they did begin to start loving what they did. And that's really how we're slowly but surely trying to build HBCU GO. We're
And
not
to
going
keep
to
showing up in the spirit of excellence.
I mean, that's all we can do. I'm just trying to get the world to understand that with being on shows like yourself, I need more people to understand what we are doing. Because all we're trying to do is help you
Right.
at the end of the day.
The
Don't fight.
exposure that you give these HBCUs, the
Hey,
story that you're telling, and
hey,
let's just take it. And I'm gonna speak on Southern because I'm here in Baton Rouge. If you're
right,
talking about HBCU GO and you want to keep it just at sports, there are 18 different sports. There are over 400 student athletes.
of course,
This is home away from home for a lot of them, and they
right,
all have a different story to tell. They
no question.
compete at the highest of their abilities, and sometimes they still feel like they're competing with their hands tied behind their back
They
because it's
are,
not the same opportunities as other places. And with
right,
these NIL deals doing the things that they're doing and the loyalty that teams once saw, it looks a lot different. The climate is different. So now
totally,
the coaching has to be different. The
right.
recruitment, the retainment, all of it looks different. But if we're
Mhm.
not able to tell those differences and tell the community what they can do to assist us, how are we supposed to stop the bleeding?
Well, I'm hoping number one, what you just started to come on top of what you just said. Number one is that we want to start educating more than just athletes. It's across the board with all the students at Southern University, for example.
Yes,
Okay. We want to make all of them feel like there's a purpose on them to being at Southern University, because
absolutely.
that's really what HBCU is all about. It's all about your purpose. And that means, again, I fall back on my big word, the grind.
Hmm.
What's your purpose to grind to get to that next level? Okay. And that's one of the things that we have to imply on these young people today. And we have to echo it in their ear like, look, there's three ways of building that purpose. One is when you come in the door, you begin to start building your character on how you're going to mold yourself when you come and that 4 years is over. Number
Hmm.
two, you have yourself in a situation where you say, you know what? I'm coming here to learn. Yeah, I'm a party. That's part of HBCUs. I'm a party hard. But I'm also here to learn. Because when I leave out of my 4 years, I want to be able to take something back to either my community, what I've learned, or into the work world to show them exactly what Southern has done for me. And number three is building who you are.
Right.
That's the big thing. You want to leave out of Southern saying, I came here as a country boy. Now I understand what I got to do to survive out here. That's the game.
I
And if
love
we can help build these young people's minds, it's all a mind game. People don't, I tell young people all the time, you don't understand this is a mind game.
it.
That's what you got to understand here. AI is AI, but the mind don't go away.
Yeah. And
The
AI only
mind,
does what somebody programs it to do with their mind. So whose
bottom
mind are
line,
you going to allow to control yours?
bottom line, bottom line. And see that, and that was what that to me. That's where I think in what I see from parents early on. Now it's gotten a lot better. Their minds got controlled to where, of course, you want to put your son or daughter in a good high school. But at the end of the day, you listen to people saying, "No, you don't need to go to HBCU. That ain't gonna be the right place to go." Why? Just why? And they can't answer. And there's nobody today. LaTangela, when I talk to people and say, they say, you know what, Mr. Son, I didn't go to HBCU. I said, nothing wrong with it. I'm not mad at you. But if I only knew, I didn't know. No one ever told me this. No one ever told me that.
Right.
I probably would have went. I said, well, that's par for the course. But you didn't dig to find out. You didn't dig to find out. You took somebody else's word. So it goes back to my three purposes. You took another person's word that this is what you should do instead of investigating it yourself. And that's the thing in the stories that we want to try to drive more of students who learn why they should go to HBCU GO.
Yes.
Why they should go to an HBCU. That's what we got. That's what we got to drive out here. And if HBCU GO can be that car driving down the road and can make different stops at Prairie View, Jackson, wherever it might be, that's the traffic. That's
And
the
you've
traffic.
really been working to build your team to echo that and to show them that people are doing great things and representing for HBCUs on this HBCU GO platform, even when it comes down to those who are working on game day experiences and getting all of the programming together for that and putting us on the right platforms for that exposure. What does it look like for this upcoming season? Because, the trash talk has already began. Everybody saying,
Well,
put me in the game, and you're going to put them
well,
all on Front Street.
I mean, we have 13 games this year. We're down a few games, but I think out of the 13 games, I'm very excited about it because, 4 out of the 5 starting out are night games, and I think we can build a great theme of HBCU at night, which hasn't been real consistent in the HBCU circle. And then we got 3 or 4 good homecomings that I think will be exciting. And we've got 2 or 3 classics this year. We have the Hope Labor Day tournament with Jackson State and Edgar Waters. We've got Southern Heritage with Alcorn and Arkansas Pine Bluff. And then we got the game of games. We have the battle of the real HUs in DC. So, I mean, we've got a good schedule. And the good thing about it for me is that I have a good team. I have a good team that knows what I want. They drive the nail for me. I put a little bit of the hammer on the nail saying, I need this, I need that. They have no problem getting it done for me. And that's what I'm really excited about. I mean, that's over the 4 years going into our anniversary on October 11th. That's what I'm totally excited about, is that, we've done an excellent job with very little tools. And I think that when people see the product, they're like blown away. They're like, oh my God, this is like watching ESPN, Fox, CBS, whoever, because my people put their investment into it.
Right.
I've never worked with anybody over the last 20 years from my BT life to now. Once they come in and perceive my dream and where I'm trying to go to, and in that old days, it was Bob Johnson's dream, but I was able to massage it within the team across the board. They understood it's bigger than them. And when people understand it's bigger than them, then you've achieved something. And that's what we're striving for big time. I mean, Danielle's been on the job now less than 3 months, and she's already cranking out like she's been here 45 years.
Yeah, hit the ground running.
I mean, big time. big time. And that's what I need for PR, because I need people like you every day talking about HBCU GO. Because the more you get reps on it, when people, I keep asking, I keep crying out here about, in all the Black podcasts that are alive and well out here, why are you not talking more about HBCU GO?
Questions that need answers.
Exactly.
And sometimes, I really feel like we still believe that everybody else's is better than our own. And that's
Well,
because we don't want to put in the work. We don't want to be consistent, and we don't want to pour in. There's a level of sacrifice. And it's easy for Danielle to come on the team and say that she's going to run like the wind with the leadership of a Mr. Symonds. Like, you don't get that everywhere you go. And I hope you realize that. Leadership does not look like it used to or the way that it needs to. So when we see leadership like we see with you, it's different. It's night and day. Like, I can't tell you how refreshing it is to have a conversation with you, to see how excited you get about the work that you have done, the work that you are doing, the purpose behind it, that you're excited and noticing that your team is working and you're challenging them to be better. That
but I think
everybody's not leading like.
but you said the magic word, LaTangela, is that, look, number one, with the team, I'm just a small piece of the team. The team is the one who's cranking the work out. There's never anywhere I go where I said my team not delivering. You got my executive assistant on the phone, does all the work, keep me alive and keeps me in a straight line. You got Danielle here, my PR, and they're doing the work. They're pointing me in the direction. I tell them, I don't need to question you. You just tell me where to go.
And God bless them, because they got to have the patience of Job. Every other day, I can only imagine the to-do list that you crank out for them. And they smile and they do it, and they be like, you know what, we're gonna make it happen. But every time that phone ring, we up to something else, right? We got something else, right?
Well, that's the beauty of having people around you that have worked with you for a long time. A lot of my staff are ex-BET folks,
right,
who know me very well, to your point. And I come out of the Bob Johnson mindset of, you don't sleep. You're always thinking. And so when they go, I am always thinking, and they have to correct me when I get on my Saturday emails when I got something that comes up. And I say, oh, let me hit Christine, and this is what I want. Like, Mr. Ellis, it's Saturday. Oh, yeah.
Well, at least she sends you a gentle reminder instead of sending you to spam. See, now that's the dedication. Yeah. She's dedicated.
Oh yeah. She does that. She keeps me in line on that. But I appreciate people like yourself to tell you that. We've had some good discussions over the years, about HBCU GO. You've been a real, believer in what we're doing, and being down south in that Louisiana area. And, we need people like yourself to keep driving that message for us, so that, people can hear us. And I know your show is heard worldwide. So, the more you're out there pumping us up, the better we are.
I'm grateful to be a part of the team. I'm grateful that you keep me in the loop and that you decide to come back, because it's a decision to put up with me. And I appreciate you so much for that. And I look forward to seeing you here in the city soon. I'm coming with the crawfish etouffee, a snowball, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good time in the making. HBCU GO with all the lights, camera, action. And that's the game for the Jags and them Braves. And that's all I'm going to say. Them Jags and them Braves or whatever. But our student athletes and our student musicians, they're going to give us one of the best shows ever. And I believe that with everyone that you have decided to put on that schedule, that they're just as grateful as the rest of us that you dedicated this space to highlight them and their efforts. So thank you for that. How can we download the app? How can we watch you, subscribe, get newsletters, all the things?
Well, get with Danielle, but our app, just go to, it's real simple. It's hbcugo.tv. And we've got, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on X, so just double check with Danielle. She can give you all. I'm not the social media person, so she has it in her mind, but a lot quicker than I can give it to you, but I think that's the easier way you can go. But it's the thing, but it's always a thing, though. The more you mention us, the more the bell rings, When you're saying on your show, hey, don't forget to tune in to HBCU GO. They're doing North Carolina Central because Texas Southern on August 29th, blah, blah, blah. They got Jackson Edgar Waters on September 3rd, blah, 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 and on and on and on. Those are the kind of messaging that stick in people's minds, because it's always amazing to me that somebody out of nowhere have heard your show, and someone will call me and say, were you on the show out of Louisiana? And I'm like, yeah. Listen to it driving down the road. I didn't know that was you. So, it's always and Daniel just sent me a little chat on that saying, that you have on you can always have them find us on Amazon Prime. Now we're on YouTube TV, and
Roku. Okay.
So we're coming along. We're coming along, and in your local market,
That's right.
Across the country,
and pulling up on a block near you, because we are indeed outside, ready to roll, ready to capture all of the greatness. So that is excellent, and thank you so much. And then wait a minute, anyway, anytime and for free. You weren't gonna throw that in there? Because something about the word free motivates me.
You said that. You said the word right. It's free. That's how you should be motivated. No question. All right.
Appreciate you so much. I know you have more work to do, so I'm gonna let you chase the sun or let the sun chase you. But either way, get after it. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
I got you. Take care.
You too. Thank y'all so much.
Bye-bye.